This video is going to be covering examples on how to solve for y. So in order to solve for y, we need to isolate it on one side of our equation, and we can do that using a series of inverse operations to help us get it alone. So we want it so that it just has y equals, and again, the idea with this is that we're getting it into slope-intercept form, which is the form of an equation that helps us more easily graph the equation in the coordinate plane. So with all of these, again, the goal is to get it so that it's in slope-intercept form. So when it says solve for y, we're essentially trying to get it so that it says y equals mx plus b. So that's the goal for each of these. Each of them are going to be a little bit different in the way that we get the variable y by itself, but again, they all involve a series of inverse operations that we use in order to get y alone. So getting started with our first example, on number 1, we have -2 times the quantity of x plus 3y equals 18. So right now, y is inside of the parentheses, and in order to get rid of the parentheses, we use our distributive properties. So we're going to be doing -2 times x and then -2 times 3y. So we'll have -2x. This is going to turn into -6y because -2 times 3 would be a negative. And so we'd have -6y and then equals 18. So now we need to, again, start using these inverse operations to get the variable y alone. So we're going to start off by adding 2x to both sides of our equation. If it helps, just like we talked about when we first started solving equations, if you want to draw that line through your equal sign to help separate the two sides of the equation, that's not a bad idea to help keep things organized. So after I add 2x to both sides, this is still going to be alone over here now, so -6y. And this here, we cannot combine these. Again, these are not like terms, so this is going to turn into 2x plus 18, or 18 plus 2x, but 2x is preferred to be in the front, so that should be the first term, technically. But again, if you wrote that backwards, it would still be okay. And then now we have one more step to get y alone, because even though this term is alone now on the left-hand side, we don't have it saying just one y, it says -6y. So to undo this multiplication here, we're going to divide every single term by -6. So this is going to turn into y equals, we're going to simplify this fraction here. So 2 divided by 6, that is the same as 1/3. This will be a negative, so -1/3 x. And then 18 divided by -6 is -3, so we'll have -3 on the end. And that is now the same equation that we started with in slope-intercept form, which now if we were to graph this is a lot easier to work with. We can see that m is equal to -1/3, b is -3, and so starting with the y-intercept of -3, we would move down 1 to the right 3 and continue that pattern to create our line. So that's the first example. Second example now, we actually only have one step to solve this and then some simplifying to do. So it's not as involved as our first example. We don't have parentheses to worry about, and our variable y is already in its own term. We just have this 10 in front that we need to take care of. So to take care of this 10, to get rid of it, we're going to divide every single term of this equation by 10. So 5/10 x, that's going to simplify to 1/2 x. And then this is going to be +1, since 10 divided by 10 is 1, equals y. And if we want to rewrite this so that it looks more like our slope-intercept form, we have y equals 1/2 x plus 1, and that would be the final answer. And excuse. Sorry about that. My cat decided to jump into my area and made it so that I couldn't see what I was doing. And so now we have y equals 1/2 x plus 1, and the line kind of went through the 2 there. So sorry about that. All right, so the next question, this one's going to be a little bit more involved because we actually have y in 2 different places on our equation here. So this is going to be one where we're going to try to get all of the y terms together, get all the constants and the x terms on the other side of the equation, and then worry about getting y alone at the very last step. So for this one, I'm going to start off by, I'm going to draw that line to help me separate 2 sides of the equation here. I'm going to start off by subtracting 2y from both sides. And this doesn't have to be your first step. I'm just doing it so that the y's are all together, and then I can worry about where to go from there next. So we got 3y plus 8 equals, this will be negative 3x plus 5. And now I need to get rid of this plus 8 that's next to this y term. So we're going to subtract 8 from both sides. So now I'll have 3y equals negative 3x, and then 5 minus 8 would make negative 3, so minus 3. So again, make sure you're only combining terms that can actually be combined. So since those are both constants, you can actually combine them to get this negative 3. And then now we just have one more step to solve, which is to solve to get y alone, which is to divide everything by 3. So since y is being multiplied by 3, we're going to divide every single term by 3. And then we'll have y equals negative 1x, which you don't need to write that 1 in front, so we can just write negative x, and then this will be minus 1.